Hi everyone, I hope you're all well. Firstly, before I start, don't forget my main channel is here, Cosy Corrine, and I update on there more regularly, but obviously it's not IVF stuff. But if you're interested in following me there, I'm going to put it at the beginning of this video because normally I put it at the end and I don't want people to miss it. Yeah, so in case I'm commenting a lot on using my other channel, in case you're confused, obviously this is Jpouch Baby Blog because that's what I started it on, but my other one's Cosy Corine because it's more just general stuff about me. Anyway, as the title suggests, I don't know if I'm going to be updating much because I don't know if it's going to be the end of the road, because I went to see my consultant yesterday. As I mentioned before, my tubes were clipped. One was clipped successfully and one was missed. I obviously spoke to him yesterday and he confirmed that my he tried to block it, but there was too many adhesions there, and he was worried that he is worried, and this is the facts, to get to the tube I would need to have adhesions cut through, and he can see that my tube, or the whole mass of adhesions, is connected to my small intestine. Obviously I had my large bowel removed when I was 20. My small bowel is connected to a Jpouch, which is further down, and connected to my rectum, and my small intestine is up higher, and that's what's connected to my tube. So the reason he couldn't clip it properly is because he didn't want to damage the last remaining bowel that I have, and he's not willing to do that operation either. He said it would be a 1 in 4 risk of me to have a nick or something happen to my bowel, causing me to have to be opened up and have major surgery done to my bowel. So yeah, I mean, if I didn't have a Jpouch in the beginning and it was all stuck there, then they would just do the Jpouch, but because the Jpouch was the last resort after having my large intestine removed, then there's no next step. It would just be a colostomy bag, which is a bag that's attached to the abdominal wall, and it collects all your waste, and you don't go to the toilet the usual way through your rectum. You'd have to collect it through this bag and empty it, and obviously it's something on the exterior of your body, which, you know, people do live with. I know people that have them and stuff, but it does change the quality of your life. You know, I would have to have certain operations, and yeah, I mean, if I ever did IVF, who knows if I don't know if I'd be able to carry, or I really don't know, but obviously more issues would arise from doing that. Obviously there's 1 in 4 chance that would happen, so, you know, the risks are high. It could not happen, but lots of people and he himself are saying that it would be silly for me to do it. Obviously if I wanted him to, he could, but there would be great risk involved, and Zav, for one, is not happy for me to put myself through that. Obviously, me being me, you kind of sit there and you think, well, would I prefer to have my body and bowel intact or whatever, or would I like the chance of conceiving? You know, obviously if I had a child, I wouldn't care that I've got my colostomy bag. That's if anything, but you know, happened or whatever. But it's such a risk to take, and especially if I do end up having the colostomy bag and I follow on trying to do IVF and it doesn't work. It's not as if I can guarantee that I would do IVF and it would work. That they still don't know if it would work or not. So I don't think I've really been faced with many options at all. I mean, he said what I could do is have my tubes drained at egg collection, but he also said that lots of people say that it can start refilling from 24 hours time, like slowly refilling with the fluid. It's like if you have a blister or something, it would just fill up with that fluid eventually. And obviously if you're having egg collection on day 0, and then you'd have egg transfer 2, 3 or 5 days later, and by then it could have built up again and just wash all the embryos away. So I don't see how that's a valid thing that you could do, although he was saying we could just drain it at egg collection. I'm thinking, you know, because he's not a fertility IVF specialist, he doesn't know everything, and he admits that. They also said that I could consider having Essure, which is metal spring spiral kind of tube that goes inside your tube from the uterus to block it, but it's made of metal, and there's been many people that have complained about it. There's been people campaigning to have it removed, including an actress called Erin Brockovich, I think. I think that's her name, because people have had pain, and the Essure, the coil breaks and pieces are found in different areas of the body, and I'm just not comfortable with having something metal. I mean, at the moment my uterus is absolutely fine. They've not really said anything about it. I don't have any polyps or endometriosis or anything like that, so the womb itself is like ready to hold a child. Obviously I've had 2 pregnancies, which he said could have been unsuccessful because of the hydrosalpinx in the first place, which he also said should have been addressed back when I started IVF. They should have removed them or talked about sorting them out back then. So yeah, that's that. They could drain the fluid, which I said would really do nothing. I mean, there's no guarantee that the fluid will come back in 24 hours, but from 24 hours it still could, and I don't want to do it on the what ifs, or maybe the fluid won't come back, so let's just do IVF when it's a lot of money to spend on what maybes. So yeah, draining the fluid, the Essure, which I'm not comfortable with, and he did mention a plastic one. I'll put the name below. It's something beginning with A, but he said he would have to refer me for Essure anyway to someone else, and he didn't tell me much about this plastic one, and I'm going to look into it. But we're just not comfortable with having anything in that area, especially when it's okay. So yeah, apart from agreeing to have major bowel surgery, that's really, I can't really see what options I have. There's no drugs that you can take that disperses the fluid, unless I know. There's just, I've had, like, they've tried to clip my tubes and they weren't able to. They tried to remove them, they weren't able to. So I'm not going to do IVF with a leaking tube. So what option do I have? What options do I have? It's just frustrating. So I have actually this morning, knowing me, I've got up and I've made an appointment with my doctor today, because I realised that every year I'm supposed to be having a checkup on my bowel anyway, and since I moved here in 2010 I haven't seen anyone. So it's really bad. I've just been focusing so much on the IVF that I haven't looked after my bowels. Obviously they're fine anyway, but to properly check. So I've asked to come in for him to make a referral. They had to see me. So they're going to refer me to see someone at the hospital to have a bowel checkup. So in which time I'm going to ask him to look and tell me what the situation is inside, and tell them that I want to have my tubes removed, but they're worried about what's going on with my bowel. They don't want to, ruin anything. So that maybe they'll do an endoscopy or a colonoscopy or whatever it is that they do, the camera down the throat or up the other way, to see where everything's going. I just think that's the only thing I could do this morning, so I don't really know if that's going to go anywhere, and that's going to be more waiting, obviously. My consultant said that he would leave his appointment open for another 6 months. I was thinking 6 months, although I really want the tube sorted now, so I've already been in touch with people. He also said to speak to a professional IVF specialist about your situation now as it is, with not being able to remove the tube, and find out what they suggest, because of the whole Essure and stuff. But I've already spoken to the clinic in Athens and they don't want me to do Essure. I don't want to do Essure. And yeah, he told me to speak to a doctor called Dr. Trew, Trew, at Hammersmith Hospital. That is apparently someone that he used to work for, to speak to him about my situation. I think he said he was going to refer me, write a letter to him, but I don't know if that means I have to pay or whether it would be under the NHS or whatever. But I feel like I want to send him a message separately and say, I've spoken to Dr. So-and-so and he said he's going to contact you, but I wanted to introduce myself anyway and see what they say, because I'd rather pay the money and go in there quickly than wait sort of months and months for the NHS to do it. So yeah, I really don't know what else I'm supposed to do, so I don't really know if I'm going to be updating or doing IVF ever again. Zav completely it just seems like more and more walls are just in front of us. We wouldn't be able to afford surrogacy because it's like £7,000 to £15,000 inexpensive for the surrogate to, hold your baby for you. And yeah, that's I'm talking about my own, you know, biological child, that's kind of it. So if anyone's got any bright ideas or knows anything special that different countries are doing to stop fluid in the tubes, or blocking the tubes in some way, even like burning it, or can't they put some little mesh like skin from like a skin graft, like maybe I should invent something. But yeah, I'm just rambling now, 10 minutes, but that's my update. I don't have one. My boss wanted me to let her know when I'm going on holiday this year. I'm going to France in July for a week with Zav, just to have a chill out, and I've got because my bosses are away, and I've got 2 weeks to take, so I was going to take them for any operations that were coming up, and it looks like there won't be any operations or IVF, so dun 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 dun. And also he was saying that itchy neck stress, he was saying that you've done 5 cycles and that none of them have worked and blah blah blah, and I said, well, 2 of which were abandoned. One was abandoned because I had low response. My second one was a miscarriage, which he admitted could have been chlamydia, could have been the tube leaking, could have been all the other things that weren't detected at that time. The third one was a frozen embryo transfer, which was chemical pregnancy again. So obviously he admitted that again it could have been implantation failure because of the chlamydia and the other things that should have been detected before I'd started IVF. And then the third one was the 2 blastocysts they put back that just didn't implant at all, no pregnancy, which again could have been the issues that should have been raised in the beginning. Then fourth, and then the last one that I just did is the one that's a little bit like what actually happened there, because 12 eggs were collected, 4 were fertilised, and none of them made transfer, and that's just like the worst cycle ever. Just the worst cycle. And now they're a bit like using that one against me. They're saying, well, the last cycle that you did, you didn't even get to transfer, and it's like, and I don't know why. I can't even explain. There's no actual reason why that didn't work. The only one thing that I did do differently is, one, it was a different clinic. My protocol was different. I was on a higher meds to start with. I wasn't on 350 like I was before. I was on like 450, and then it was like up and down and stuff. And I don't know whether the protocol was different. The medication was the same, but the amount of medication was different, if that makes sense. And also at the time I was doing Insanity, which is high impact exercise every day. It was like an hour. Yeah, about an hour a day. I was also eating I was on a diet, but I was eating microwave meals. And they were diet microwave meals. And I've sort of spoken to people since that were saying, if you were living on these microwavable meals, which I was, 1, that's the microwaves, and 2, that all the chemicals that they put in that, it could have been the worst cycle, because I wasn't, even though I was losing weight, I wasn't healthy. I wasn't eating fruit and veg. I wasn't having a balanced diet, and that could have caused problems, or it could just be, who knows, one of those things. But yeah, it does worry me, because obviously moving forward, if I did do IVF again, is it going to be a complete failure again? Is it going to be better because I've lost weight, I'm doing Slimming World, I'm like a stone and a bit more, less heavier than I've been before. I'm actually smaller than I've been in like 15 years, and it's doing it healthily. I'm eating fruit and veg, I'm having a certain amount of fat a day. Obviously it's a balanced diet, so I don't know. I really want to try IVF, and I really feel I don't know if I want to do it. I just don't know. Some people are saying I should do it and freeze the eggs and sperm, because obviously my sister, she had IVF. I don't know if I've mentioned that before, and she was 31 when she did IVF, and that particular cycle didn't work, and I think she eventually used the eggs that were frozen from that cycle when she was 37, and fell pregnant with my niece and nephew, IVF twins. Yeah, so I don't know whether saving the eggs would make a difference. I don't know. Let me know what you think, if you've got any ideas. This is going on to 15 minutes, and I'm sorry, I'm rambling. But yeah, the usual crappy news and update for you. So yeah, this is my life. Such is life. And I will speak to you all when I update next. Bye.